Hi, and welcome to SecretEntourage.com. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Yanik Silver. Yanik really doesn't need any introduction. I mean, everyone should know who he is. But for those of you that are new to the entrepreneur world, he has founded 8 different products and services, all of which have hit the $1 million mark. He's the author of the Maverick startup. Currently runs a very interesting organization we'll kind of talk about a little bit called the Maverick 1000. And I mean, there's almost nothing he hasn't done. I know he's written even more than one book, and he's here today to tell us all about how startups can hit that $1 million mark. So thank you for joining us today, Yanik. We appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thanks, PJ. I appreciate it.
So let's talk a little bit about, your beginnings. You started at a really young age. From what I hear, you were 14 years old when you started selling medical equipment. And
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about, how that kind of came about and how that played a role into your future. Did that help? Did that not help? How did that kind of progress?
Well, it's interesting. So, I probably have to just give a little bit of credit, back up the story to my parents coming over from Russia when I was 2.5, and then my dad started his own first company probably about, I don't know, 6 months or a year after that. So this is 1976, and then he started actually in 78, and he. So growing up in a family business, you pretty much do whatever, wherever, whatever makes sense. And then so at 14, that was my job, was telemarketing for Latex Gloves, selling gloves to dentists. Like, I called on my own leads, I sent out samples, I followed up on them. It was a bit of a pain. And, but, I got commissioned, I made some money, and probably making more than other 14-year-olds at the time. And then from there, like when I was 16, my dad's deal was, He's like, okay, and this is his Russian accent. He's like, okay, Mr. Yanik, go make some sales. He always called me Mr. Yanik. All of us were Mr. whatever, and so he's like, so the deal was I got a car, but I had to go cold calling doctors. So then I had to learn how to cold call, and that was a complete pain in the ass. And all my friends are like living at the beach, and I'm like, trying to sell medical equipment, and it's like even surprising that these doctors are listening to me, but. It's one of those turning points. Like, I think everyone can look at their lives as these different little pivotal moments and points. And like one of my doctor clients who I sold his entire practice, all his equipment to, he kind of took me under his wing. He's like, yeah, I think you like this marketing stuff, because I was writing ads for my dad's business, but they're really stupid ads. Like, they have a big whale on there or something and say, this is a whale of a deal. And then like a discount or whatever it was. And he's like, here, take this J. Abraham tape. It was a tape at the time. And I literally listened to this tape about optimization and direct response marketing like over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. There's this whole other world, and I can actually write an ad and have people raise their hands and be interested and just open up this whole other horizon for me.
So that's really interesting. So were you forced into actually selling the latex gloves, or was that something you wanted to kind of do to help your dad?
Oh, I didn't want to do that. And I don't know if I was I mean, he wasn't like, you have to do it, but it was like, he's like, go sell this and, whatever, and go make some money. Actually, I did remember, I did create a really good ad for those latex gloves, and I'm sure I ripped it off from somewhere, but I had a big, huge circle on a page. And it said, and this is during the AIDS scare, like right at the beginning. And it said, this is what a pinhole looks like to a virus. And I'm like, oh, no, that's pretty good. Even like today, I'd be like, that's not bad. And so that was my main promotion piece for that.
So how did you kind of progress from that? You went into the marketing field. I know you're pretty well known, and I think with sales letters and some of this other stuff you were doing online. Can you tell us a little bit about what was that kind of point where you really became an entrepreneur, and it wasn't just kind of a practice run anymore?
Along as a kid, I always did, like, I had a paper route. Me and my buddies, we created a comic book that we sold like maybe 2 copies of outside on the streets to probably his parents and maybe a neighbor or something like that. And that was probably that was the little first foray into information content selling. So it's pretty funny. But the real genesis of it was, so the J. Abraham stuff created this love and interest into direct response marketing and copywriting and learning about psychology. And then, I just started learning as much as I possibly could on it. And then I started applying it to my dad's business. And we would be writing these long forms, sales letters or ads for EKG machines, or I don't know, like fetal Dopplers or bone densitometry equipment, like stuff that you could only really sell face to face typically. But I was getting doctors to either give us their credit cards or raise their hands and be like, yeah, I'm really interested. And then, my commissions were going way up because I was only talking to people that were really interested, and it just changed the dynamics of my dad's business. And from there, I started working with some of my doctor clients who needed elective patients, like a dermatologist who wanted cosmetic patients, urologists that wanted more, I don't know, other ED patients or all sorts of kind of doctors, and realized pretty quickly that I had this gift for marketing, I guess, or just really a love for it. And then that there was no leverage in consulting. I was trading my time for money. And so I created a course for doctors called How to Get More Cosmetic Patients or something like that. And it was $900. I put an ad in dermatologic surgery, and I got 10 leads, and nobody bought. And then I sent out a follow-up notice. Nobody bought. Sent out a third notice, and finally on that last deadline day, we got like the little, the fax machine was coming through. I was using my dad's fax machine, and it's like, and finally, got the order. It was like $900, and I was just like over the moon, couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, oh shit, I got to write this thing. And then, so I sent back a note to the doctor saying, hey, it's being republished. It's going to be available in 30 days. We won't charge your card until then. And got to work doing that. And I think, kind of the big lesson in that is there's a lot of motivation that comes from selling your ideas first. And I think you can still do it today. And today there's even more tools and resources available to entrepreneurs that you can do this, which is really exciting. Anything from Kickstarter to Indiegogo to a lot of the crowdfunding or crowd investing kind of platforms. And that gets really exciting because you put something out there, you take an idea, put something out there, see what the marketplace response is. And then if you want to create it, you create it. And that gives you that energy and motivation to do it. Like I got that $900 order. I was like, yes, this is really exciting. And then that turned into a legitimate business where it was like within about, 7-8 months, maybe a little more, 9-10 months. I was doing about $10,000 a month selling information to doctors based on what I've been working on as a consultant with them. And then I left my dad's business in '99. And that was a really hard decision because, I thought originally I was going to want to take over my dad's business and grow it. But it just, the more and more I thought about it, like my itch was to really go off and go do my own stuff. And so left his company and then kind of started poking around the internet. Like this is still late '99. I didn't have an email address. I thought I was really late to the party, but I was kind of looking around and seeing what was going on. And I'm like, I see what's working. It's like these sales letters. I know how to write sales letters because I've been learning and studying and applying copy for, at that point, 6 years or so, 7 years, really learning it. And then literally at 3:00 in the morning, I had this idea for something called instant sales letters. And instant sales letters, like I posed a question. I think your questions really dictate your answers. And I posed a question to myself, which was something along the lines of, how do I create a fully automatic internet business that is an incredible value for people, makes me money while I sleep, and is not just an ebook. Like I wanted something different even at that point because people were selling ebooks. And literally woke up at 3:00 in the morning with this idea for instant sales letters. They're little fill-in-the-blank sales letter templates for all sorts of different types of businesses, because I've also been working with, I don't know, like my uncle had a deli and he had a gas station and a repair shop. And then I had these other people that are just sort of helping out and working with in all these different businesses. And I'm like, these would be really cool. And literally woke up 3:00 in the morning, got to work on it. And within a month and a half, so I had no technical skills. I still don't. I can't put up my own website. I can't do any of that stuff. And got to work on it. And I still remember that first, it was $29.99 at the time, and still remember that first $30 order coming in. It was just an amazing feeling to have that come in. And then that turned into, within, about 4 months, like a 6-figure business that was on track to do 6 figures. And people were like, well, how did you do that? And maybe you can teach me how to do that. And then that opened up a whole another kind of pathway.
So the instant sales letter were, I think, your first big entrepreneurial victory, right?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, the stuff with the doctors was doing really well. I mean, it was at $10,000-$15,000 a month, and I was 26 at the time, so pretty decent money. And then the instant sales letters was definitely my first hit online. That was the first kind of, I guess, home run. and that was my first product online.
So you were pretty much just copywriting, like you were teaching people how to do sales pages, or you were doing your own sales pages and selling ultimately sales pages to people?
I was, well, the product itself, you mean?
Yeah, the product itself was a sales letter, right?
Yeah, there's sales letters for all types of situations, like, how to get more